What is it like having Melissa Blake provide you with this knotted lock service? What is it like? Let's go beyond the knots. That's the idea, for you to begin to discover what it's like for those who are receiving the knotted locks knowledge, but also what is Melissa like? This is one of the best ways to understand that my work, yes, it is knotted locks, but it is also beyond the knots. Thank you for watching this interview. I hope you enjoy it.
Where are you? You're in your front room.
No, I'm where you sit.
Oh, really? I've never noticed that before. I've never noticed
So
those
I'm
things.
exactly where you sit. You're the outdoor, like literally where you sit.
Oh, so it's behind.
No, it's not. It's your vision. Like
Ah,
you
to the
sit there.
side. Okay,
There's
okay.
the mirror.
Yeah,
There's the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
cabinet. There's the outside. It's just there.
Yeah, it just looks completely different.
Isn't it funny? Look at all your pictures. Look at all of your life behind you. Oh my goodness, Carmen. So thank you so much for doing this.
That's
Thank
okay.
Oh, it's so important, right? Because I feel like it's legacy work. Because to me, this is such an important hairstyle. When you
Yeah.
struggle with your afro hair, like we did, and then you finally discover you can have it in these small tubes, you just want to maintain it. You
When
just
you
want
say
to, yeah,
small, um, when you say tubes, you
yeah,
mean,
tubes of hair. You
oh,
know
is that
what
what
I
you call
mean?
it? Oh,
Locks.
okay.
Because it,
Yeah.
it locks us into a tube form. So you just want this, you just want to maintain it.
My main thing is that I can just go to bed, wake up, and I don't have to do anything with it.
Yeah.
You know, for years, as a, oops, sorry, that's my alarm. For years as a young child, I've dreamt of that. So I'm not a hair care person. I don't want to have to deal with hair. So the fact that I can just get up and just fluff it up, you see, I put little highlights in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Have fun with it.
the fact that I can just fluff it up and just
Yeah.
walk out the door just suits me fine. Yeah,
Yeah. That should be that literally, I feel like that was what we wanted from the get-go with all
yeah,
the hairstyles. So when
yeah,
we actually saw Sisterlocks, we were like, wow, this is the answer. And then
yeah,
it just became something else. So what would be good is for you to kind of give us a kind of a background like on of you and your hair.
yeah.
And then we'll talk about how we met.
Okay, so it's about 12 years ago, I think. A friend of mine sent me some information on Sisterlocks. It might even have been longer than that. Sent me some information on Sisterlocks, and I just thought, oh, I do want something that's going to, as I said, make my just take me out of my hair. But the idea of having, as I saw it then, dead hair still, in my on my head just didn't appeal to me because at the time I was twisting my hair, washing it, retwisting it, and that just took over my entire life. So eventually I succumbed, and I didn't I didn't have my hair locked from the as from the beginning, in the sense that it was already in twists. So I said to the person, just carry on with the Sisterlocks and have my own twists at the ends. Yeah. So I didn't have the grids.
Okay.
And that's how it started. And I had a very, very good run with it. My hair was very thick. It was growing. I had no complaints whatsoever. And then gradually, I started noticing that when I was being lost, um, it didn't look good. Um, it didn't look good immediately afterwards. I could see my scalp. So I started saying, oh, give it a few days, it will settle down. That's how it always looks. But then it grew worse and worse. I could see more bloody scalp than I could see hair. And I noticed that I was having to combine strands. And it didn't occur to me that that meant that my hair was thinning. So it was a very, very slow dawning that my hair wasn't how it looked in the beginning. And thank God we have these photo albums, because we can look back to our photos, how we were. And it was a real shock when one day someone took a video of me from the back, and I saw my hair and I just couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. It was just bald, basically. And the person who was locking my hair kept talking about these women whose hair she was locking, who were gradually going bald. And that's when the penny dropped very, very slowly. And I thought, this thing is not good for my hair. And I just thought, I can't do this anymore, but what the hell do I do? What do I turn to? You know, I cut off all my hair. I wear extensions. There aren't very many options, really.
Exactly, Carmen. Exactly.
Yeah, I've done it all, really. And you know, I just wanted to be me again. And as I said in the beginning, it was wonderful. And here I was looking at myself, thinking, is it because I'm postmenopausal? Is I'm menopausal? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? And I started using all these lotions and potions and Jamaican black castor oil and all sorts of other things. But I just thought, no, this is something to do with the Locs. So I made the decision that I wasn't going to lots my hair until I could find a solution.
Okay.
I believe in the universe. Yeah. I'm a healer, so everything and a writer. Everything for me is about frequency and energy.
Right.
And if you put out, it will come back to you. So I put out almost a prayer, you know, and this has happened so many times to me before. I put out almost a prayer saying, okay, send me an answer, a solution for this problem, because I know I'm not going to be doing Sisterlocks anymore. And then you popped up. And something about your confidence in what you do, something about the idea that it seemed what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't you know, because Sisterlocks feels to me like a treadmill. Yeah, everything is stitched in place, and you're part of that treadmill. Whereas this seemed more boutique and more catering to where you're at with your hair. And I always listen to the universe, and I thought, let me just go with this. And it took a while. And also instinctively, I was knotting my locks, because you know, with Sisterlocks, you get this sort of thickish bit, and then it thins and thins and thins, and so you have to kind of knot the bit which is very thin to strengthen it. So it's almost an intuitive thing to do. So it took a while, and you have to have faith, because as the hair is coming out, you know, it's taken a while to get you to this stage. So it's going to take a while for you to unwind the damage, because I see it as damage. It's traction alopecia, basically, that's happening. There's all this tightening every 6 weeks. So I kind of just let it ride. And to be honest, I didn't see that much happening the first 3-4 visits. But slowly, what's happening is that the scalp, I feel that the scalp is alive again. I used to put my hands here and just feel bare scalp, but now I can feel hair. And during that process, a lot of the hair was breaking off at the same time as it was emerging. So it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And gradually, it's more of a forward movement. And that's where I find myself right now.
Yeah, it's interesting nature, isn't it? Healing. As a healer, you know, we're very impatient humans.
Body wants to heal.
Yeah.
Whatever happens to your body, because that's the job of your body. It wants to repair, it wants to maintain, it wants to grow, it wants to heal. my work is all about finding out what are the obstacles in preventing our bodies from doing that. And once you find the obstacles and delete the obstacles, then your body does the rest. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your obstacle?
There were mental emotional issues that I had to work on
Okay.
with myself.
Okay.
But the main thing was a physical issue of being caught in this trap, this 6-weekly trap.
Yeah.
And that process didn't go from good to better, better, better.
Yeah.
It went from good to worse, worse, worse. And it was a very slow process. And so you
Right.
kind of, it's like that cliche of the frog in the hot water. You don't know that the water is now bubbling hot because when you went in, it was cold and it gradually grew warmer and
Yeah.
warmer. And at some
Yeah.
point, you've got to jump out. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, for a lot of people, they leap out when it's too late. When it's never too late, but you're too far down the line to actually have confidence that you can do something else.
Yeah.
So, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to your process. I'm grateful to my intuition. I'm grateful to the universe
Yeah.
that I was able to take action this side of things
Yes,
rather
Carmen.
than that side of things.
Yes, Carmen, because the reality is it is too late for some people, and me, I can't help some people, and it's devastating when
But
I have
also
to tell them.
people have got to come in with the right mindset as well. Even when it feels like it's too late, I think there's always um there's always hope. There's always hope, but your mind, your emotional mental state, which says, for example, it's too late, I can't do anything. You can't come to somebody else with that mindset, because that person wants to help you, but you've got to help yourself as well. So you've got to meet in the middle.
100%. So, Carmen, I have been approached by people online who I look at their hair and I'm devastated for them.
Yeah.
Even clients who want to sit in my chair and I'm devastated for them. Melissa feels that I don't know. When you begin to feel like, I didn't feel like that for you, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And then because I say I don't know, I say, okay, I know the universe has brought me that energy because I've been chosen for that energy. I know that, right? And so then I go, right, let me have a exchange with them. Comment on you're 100% right. On the basis of the exchange, where I come in and I go, I can't make any promises. So I don't know whether I'm the right, but actually, maybe you should look at other options. They fight me for me to teach them or to
That's a
sit
good
in my
sign.
chair.
That's
And
a
that's
good
where
sign.
the healing begins. So
Yeah.
they challenge me. Those who come for me, they're like, no, I know you. If anyone can, they have more faith in me. So it's not a
That's the
selling.
way it should be. That's the
Yeah, that
way.
is the way it should be. Absolutely. It is literally like, I'm not trying to sell this because I'm here and I'm doing the work every day and I'm doing the deep work every day. I am here. But unless you are ready, you would struggle because like you said, it's a mindset shift and it's waiting and giving space for nature. I
Yeah.
mean, from nature to go, right, okay, now the trauma has gone. Now we can start the process of healing. Also, that healing happens and we don't know with our naked eye or even in feeling. So with you, healing was happening. It was gradually. There's no way the amount of growth you've got now.
Below the root line, the healing is happening below the root, so you
Yes.
don't see it. And
Yes.
part of that healing is for the old to die off and to
Yeah.
break off.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the part where you've got to have a lot of faith. And the analogy of that is when you have a chronic illness and someone comes to you and believes that they can be healed, and
Yes.
you know that you've been called to help this person, and
Yes.
it's going to be a union between you, but
Yes.
also know that that person is going to go through a crisis situation in the healing. It's
Right.
that point of crisis where you have to be the strongest. Yeah. Because at that point, maybe you're bleeding more, there's a lot of pussing, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of shedding. But that's your body healing. Yeah. That break off point is the body healing. and you've got to hold strong there and get to the other side of it. And that's the test for both people, for concerned, the healer and the healee.
100%. And that's where I've had people cut off their locks, Carmen.
Yeah.
I've had people where I've done everything possible, but because of their mindset shift, and they're just going into an area that I just can't pull them out of, they go and cut their, because I always believe this with everything that's happened with me and my hair, Carmen. And there were times when, it was thin and the top and all that. I never wanted to cut and start again. And so my practice of healing is never really to start again. It's always from where you're at. Let's just be patient. Let that strands come through. Let's just leave it.
I've got some, if I could find one, I've got some parts of my hair which I just there's a knot here, there's a knot here, there's a knot here. And in between those knots, it's so thin, I could basically tear it off, break it. But, and I, part of me might have said at some point, just cut the whole thing off.
Yes.
But that's kind of testament, because you can see the part that's growing compared to the part that's
100%.
going.
Well, isn't that wonderful? That's why when people start again, I wonder, because your whole story on that lock is there. That's part of the experience. That's where I was knotting when I didn't even know Melissa, and the universe was guiding me and telling me this is where the direction. Oh, that is when she interlocked and it was thin. That is when, like, we're imperfect, but it's perfect and it tells a story. Oh, there's the comparison and the consistency of that fuzz and the nature of the hair coming through. Because with the interlocking, it is stretching, it is pulling, it is changing the structure and characteristics. If you keep on stretching that strand, it's going to pop off. So it's a mini kind of stretch, natural way of straightening your hair and lengthening it, right? That's why people are like about the length. So what is great about this experience, which is exciting, and it's not boring, is because when I knot you, I let go. I knot you and I let go. And then you go and live your life and heal and do what you do. And then you come back and then I knot. So the real character of where Carmen is now, the real structure of your hair is coming through gradually. You're beginning to realize, oh, and that's such a beautiful feeling. Now, how does that feel at this point where I was knotting you and we were just waiting and seeing, how does the texture of your hair feel right now?
It feels full. It feels fuller. And
how do the knots feel?
Well, one of the downsides, how people might see it, is that whereas the interlocking stretches your hair, this kind of retracts your hair. So your hair doesn't grow at the rate, the damaging rate of the interlocking. It's stretching it, but it's damaging it at the same time. Whereas it's strengthening it and sort of pulling it up a little bit.
Springy.
So your hair doesn't grow as quickly, but it does grow as quickly. What am I talking about? It doesn't appear to grow as quickly.
It's not showing.
The length. But it's growing slowly but surely. That's what it's doing. So it's going in the right direction. So you've got to start feeling it full from the roots. Forget the length. If it's full from the roots, then then you know that something good is happening.
That's a really important message. So when my clients come, it will be confusing for the DIYs, because the DIYers, I teach them in a different way and they live with their growth. But you guys come and you have quite a lot of growth, and then I shorten it with the knots, basically. And so you get a thicker feel, but it is up further. The problem with the Sisterlocks is it was just dragging down. So it is growing. It's growing in its natural state, but length isn't showing as much. And that's why when I started knotting my hair, people were like, well, it's not showing anything. 2 years down the line, I was still knotting. It's not showing anything. Now people are like, oh my God, your hair, it's transformed. It's because you have to wait. But the most important bit of this experience was the everyday experience of comfort, satisfaction, serenity, love, like feeling the ease at which I was able to
take it for granted again.
Not
take care. Not what's in your
trying to fluff it, trying to make it look. Yeah.
But you also have to put in the other work as well, which is nourish your hair, massage it, talk to yourself, find out if there are any mental, emotional blocks. You know, like some people will say, well, my sister went bald, my mother went bald, I'm going to go bald. You got to get rid of that stuff. Yeah, that doesn't apply to you. It's your story. So
Yes.
take on board your own story,
Yes, Carmen. Isn't that wonderful? Finally,
your own stuff.
finally having a practice, African hair practice, where we go deeper.
Yeah,
You know, not just the hairstyle, superficially, what will it look like?
yeah,
But all the conversations I'm having, everybody's saying the same. It's going to be fascinating as I put everyone's conversations out.
yeah,
Everyone is saying that. For me, it is so fascinating because you guys, I work, you sit in the chair and I work and off you go. And you've had these years of experience. And now you're talking to me about it and I'm facing you. And I'm so proud of the work because it's the same conversation we're having. It's not just a superficial, yeah, this is my, no, it's the deep work, the mindset, the removing of blockage, the fact
yeah.
that I go in.
We, apart from all the other traumas, we
Right.
have deep trauma about our hair, hating
Yes.
our hair, believing our hair doesn't grow,
Yes.
thinking our hair's hard work,
Yes,
um,
Carmen.
it's our parents, just the mannerisms of our parents sometimes. My parents were immigrants here and they had jobs and they worked hard and it was a harsh country then. And the last thing she wanted to do, my mother, was to plait my hair and plait my sister's hair. So you feel all that anger and tension in your hair. So all of that stuff, anything that comes to mind in terms of stress, tension, all those stories that come to mind, you got to allow those to dissolve and say, okay, that was then, this is now. I'm letting that stuff go.
Yeah, Carmen. It's really important you saying that because I've said it so in so many different ways, and that's why these conversations are important because it's not just me speaking. Many of us realize, and hopefully through Carmen's explaining that, somebody else will hear it as we all represent different types of energies, melanated energies. You're representing somebody that's like, that's what I needed to hear. It makes sense. Come and tell me how long between you having your sister locks, your locks being interlocked every 6 weeks, how long between that and you beginning to realize something's not right, it's thinning, or actually realizing it is thinning? How long did that take?
Yeah, because the first couple of years, um, my hair was, in a good state.
Yeah.
And then I started to bleach the ends, and then the ends started to break away, like basically disintegrate.
Okay.
And I put it down to the bleach for a long time, but bear in mind, I only bleached this side.
Okay.
So why was this and everywhere else
Okay.
falling as well? You kind of don't want to face it. So you make up all kinds of stories. So my story was the bleach was doing it for a long time.
Okay.
That was another few years. And then after that, it was like, well, after I have my hair down, it does look a bit sparse. So that was
Right.
another few years. So it's like every 3 years I came up with an excuse. So maybe I started, I've only had Knotted Locs for
Yeah.
about 18 months now.
Right.
So, and I said that been having interlocking. I had been having interlocking for about 10 years. So it's like
Right.
every years another excuse came in.
Another. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
I
it
think
was,
that's so important to share because
yeah,
we don't come in. Do you know how? I don't know the word for it, but I'm researching further now because I've been locked up in my Knotted Locs world. Carmen, I'm going out now and I'm researching small size locks, sister locks, micro locks. I see them doing it with extension. Do you know how it feels for somebody like Melissa to watch somebody with hair? I can tell because I work with so many different hair textures. They've got the gridding and they're celebrating their hair. In a
yeah,
different group, there's somebody who is now it's thinning, but they're not sure. So they're like, my hair feels different. So I'm seeing the graduation of, and then you see somebody going, I'm just going to cut off my, there's even a group now, like taking down my Sisterlocks and my Microlocks, right? Yeah.
Starting again, some people.
Starting again, people are starting second time, third time. And it's just so, that is such an important information, because what you're saying is 10 years. 10 years. And when I appeared, right? Because you asked for it. And when you asked for Carmen, it showed up, boom. How long, Carmen, did it take for me to show up and for you to put into action, reaching out to Melissa?
Maybe a couple of months,
right.
Thinking about it, watching your videos.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get caught up in another system. If one system is in your hair, who's to say the other system is not going to do the same thing?
Exactly. Also, Carmen, the fact is this. For me, my hair is low density, fine low density hair. I've seen hairstyles, I've gone and done it. And then it's not worked out. I've been traumatized. And then I've gone and done it. And I've always based it on looking at somebody, because back in the day, we didn't have social media. Yeah. Even the Sisterlocks, when I saw it, social media didn't exist back then. The grid, it was a book. And then I said to my friend, well, you go and do it. And when I watch your hair break, then I'll go like, good. That's why I didn't do it. So then she did it and her hair flourished. Now, the flourishing of your hair takes a number of years. Because your hair is strong. It takes the trauma for many years.
I'd say it takes about 3 years.
Yeah. It takes about 3 years. And so so 3 years, and then it slightly starts changing. And then you tell yourself a story, isn't it? Yeah. Like when I started this business, I was 4 years in, and my ex-business partner's mom said to her, she's French, so she spoke no English, but she looked at my hair and she said, tell your friend she's losing. At the start of me starting this journey into working with locks, she said, tell your friend she's losing her hair. And because my business partner had a hole on her head, which was directly as a result of Sisterlocks, where she had a bun. She said, no.
A what? She had a what?
Bun.
A toupee.
No, she took all her hair.
Oh,
and
right.
She bun it.
Okay, because sorry to interrupt you, but because one of the things that just knocked it on the head for me was when the person who was locking my hair was telling me about her client who'd had a toupee now. So she had locks along the edges and a toupee in the middle, and I thought, shit, that's gonna be me.
That is you. Yeah. So in a way, I'll come back to that story, but that's when I saw people ask me for help the first time when I announced I'm now certified, I'm now doing the Sisterlocks course, and then they sent me the hair, and it was bought, and I just could see myself, and I was like, oh my, it was just terrifying. It was just terrifying.
My sister often said to me, have you cut your hair? And I said, and I do trim the ends. I said, yeah, I trimmed the ends, but it didn't add up for her, that because I trimmed my hair looked like
like I used to say things like,
ignore all that. It's not happening. It's not happening.
I used to say it sheds.
Much, if there's no solution out there, okay, I'll try this. Hasn't worked. I'll go to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do something else. Because there's no other solution, you just delay that day when you have to take some kind of different action.
Yeah, well, you just know that it can't happen to you as well. That's how I felt. I felt like when my business partner's mom said, she's losing her hair, she has hair loss, I thought, not me. It could happen to somebody else, but I'm clever enough. Like, this is just shedding. When I was told it's not normal for your hair to be on the floor breaking off, I was like, it's shedding. It's just like when our hair sheds. There's always a story you tell yourself. And it's really important for people to understand that the first inclination, when somebody goes, is your hair, are you seeing more scalp? Or you're thinking, that's the beginning of it being quite significant for you just don't ignore it. Start exploring options, because it takes us a while to actually recognize that that's the solution. I always say, as soon as you feel something, just start looking. Like, let's allow yourself to be cynical about what Melissa's talking about, but just watch, just keep researching, because ultimately this is about me not wanting you to go bald, because I just think it's the most scariest, traumatic to actually, as a result of a hairstyle that you could have avoided, you go and get and become bald as a result.
Bald as a woman,
You don't want to. No. Come on.
every part of your psyche.
Yeah, you don't. So that's the
I'm not one to wear wigs and stuff like
no. That's the panic, Carmen, when you think, oh my God, what are my options? I've done the extensions, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. I just liked the fact that the wind hit my scalp and I liked it. I liked feeling the wind on my scalp. And my head told me enough. The last extension I put, the head said, that's the last time we're doing it. Was so aggressive. It was like, that's the last time we're doing this. We need to find another option. And that's why I started twisting. That's why I started twisting until then I found the Sisterlocks and I was like, okay, I've carried on having a hairstyle where I found that I can feel the wind on my scalp. I can feel the breeze on my scalp. And so therefore, when it's thinning and you're feeling the breeze more, you just make an assumption that you're just feeling the breeze and the Sisterlocks is the answer.
More breezy day, more breezy season.
I'd say, and it's because we're tired, so we just give up the knowledge to somebody else. And actually, the lesson that we're now learning is that you have to be in tune with your hair. You can't just give up. That's why I formed these relationships with you guys, where I'm like, I don't see you as often, and then you form your relationship, and then you come and then you give me updates, and it's a partnership. I mean, that's the healthiest way, rather than me being the expert. The healthiest way is to do it this way. So,
I'm not one for prescriptions either. So, when someone says you have to have your hair retightened every 6 weeks, there's something wrong with that, because they're not all the same.
Yes,
and,
Carmen.
and I knew that my hair didn't need to be retightened every 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I would stretch it out to 8 weeks, but now it's 4 months.
Yes, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
that 3 months, 4 months is my natural period for my hair to say, time to tidy up this thing now.
Because it's feeling based. That's what this is. It's basically feeling based. You feel and then you reach out and there's always a space. You never struggle to get it. Whilst when I was practicing the Sisterlocks method, I couldn't find space. But now we're all in sync, a divinely chosen moment. The space is there, you come, I knot your hair, and then off you go. What a gift. What a wonderful, wonderful gift, Carmen. I'm just happy that.
What a gift.
Yes, I'm great. I'm honored. Carmen, I am just so relieved and honored, because this is, as a Black woman, this is so important to me. And it's legacy work. And I was worried because I was like, for me to have a daughter who has such fine hair, she has the finest of hairs. How is she going to navigate as a Black girl with all the different hairstyles that are so aggressive and so militant? She needs soft, light, and so knotting her hair is just being great. She works with water. She's a swim teacher and a lifeguard, and she doesn't have to worry about her hair. And what a gift. So I honestly, I'm always like grateful, because I'm like, that was the gift I wanted to give my kids. And she's living proof that I was right to do the deep work and continue to do the deep work. I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful that today I've had this session with you where you've shared your story, Carmen. Thank you so much. Now, do you have any questions for me?
How did you come about perfecting this thing? I know you walked away from doing the Sisterlocks. How did you come about it?
Okay. So I get told what to do. I just get told. I get instructions. I was instructed to do hair. I argue with the voice. I've learned not to argue with the voice. If the voice tells me what to do, I just obey. So we've got this relationship. So when the voice said to me knot, I said, I can't because it breaks off. And then the voice said, did it break off when you were knotting? And I said, no. And the voice said, just carry on. And so, and the voice you will say to me, if I'm arguing, the voice says, yeah, blah, 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 whatever, Melissa, you're going to do it, get on. So like, I've learned to just skip the resistance. Like the voice told me to interview. When I'm going through something, I just go like, and the voice goes, this is what we're doing next. It's meant to happen. Everything that happens, the voice is there telling me it is written. It is the most amazing experience. So I was just told. And so even though I didn't know what I was doing, I was scared, I just did it. And then
when you feel fear, there's something at the end of that fear.
Yeah, I just did it.
To find
Yeah.
what that thing is.
Yeah, I just did it. And the rewards and the benefits and the abundance show up as a result. Carmen, to know that I don't know what I'm doing is the most powerful. I accept errors. Like I was in your hair and I was like, I don't know why it's taken longer. It just has taken longer. I don't know. I couldn't explain it. I'm just in the middle of it, just performing, but this is divine work. This is not, I'm just the carrier of it. And if I abuse it, I will lose it. Right? So the work that I do on a client's head that I transfer to the online is because you guys trust the process. It's like you guys have been chosen to give me information for me to practice, be grounded, and then I give somebody else. So it's moving energy. That's what the knots are. It's like energy that I pass to somebody else. Somebody sees something and then it becomes something else and then they transfer. It's transferable energy. It's not meant to sit with just me. It's meant to come back and forth and then you pass it on and all of that. So that's how it happened, is that I just started knotting. And then obviously when I was exposed, I was like, well, my business partners went and said that I'm doing it. Then I was like, I confess. I didn't know. And then I was like, okay, I confess. What do I do? Knotted locks. I just made up the word just to cover my ass because I was panicking. But I liked the feeling I wasn't going to stop. So even when I confessed online that I'm knotting because I felt really bad about it, because Sisterlocks says you don't knot, I still knew I was going to carry on. Teach it, teach it. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Wait, calm yourselves. I don't know what I'm doing. Then COVID happened. So everything is by force. Literally, Carmen, everything is by force. It's just happened. And then, because somebody else used to do the interview and then she betrayed my trust. And so then I was like, well, let me just do the interview. So every time I'm birthing, every time there's this labor pain, I'm just blossoming. That's what I found. So that's how it is. And when I'm knotting on your head, it's so diverse that the technicality of what I do is just so diverse. I do so many different things, Carmen, that even I can't explain it. I just have to be present in the head.
What you're describing is that it's the same with the healing process, because I'm an intuitive healer and it's all about the feeling. What am I feeling here? And
yes. Yeah.
What stories come out at me. And
yes.
They're always true. When you tell the person when you were 5 years old, your father left you or whatever, they say, oh, how did you know that? And it's because I'm connecting to source.
Yes.
Source energy, and you've got to connect to that. And when your ego gets in the way, that's when you do things wrong.
Exactly, Carmen. Exactly, Carmen.
So, but it makes sense what you're saying about how this thing evolved, because in every single invention evolved from a previous system. People say, oh, this is the new best thing, and it's locked.
I was like, you know what, let me just carry on with you and then I'll sort it out later. But it just shows you, like, I'm so out of my comfort zone with technology because all the work I do is like one-on-one. These are the challenges that I'm actually facing.
We've all got to overcome these things because it's the world we're in.
I will. It's just what I need to do. Before, the old Melissa would have said, oh, you see, that's why I don't want it. But I know that it's all part of it where I'll understand it. And then I'll be like, oh, yeah. Okay, no, I know I've obviously done something wrong that I need to kind of correct.
Yeah, you just got to get used to it.
Exactly. But when we were talking, you were asking me about how I came to knot. And then I was explaining to you about exchange of energies. And then we covered about like the ego. Like if you allow ego to take over, then it just doesn't work, basically. Sorry, and then we got cut off there. And then you were saying something that I wanted to hear that was important. And I don't know whether you remember it.
I think I was talking about inventions. So nothing happens. There's no invention whatsoever that just hits the deck as completely. Everything develops from something else. So there are always systems being created from something else, and it's like this is the be all end all. You don't need to look any further. You don't need to go any further. And then, you know, we all just accept these systems as if they're sacred and we mustn't touch them, we mustn't question them. But everything has its glitches, everything has its problems, everything needs updating, improving, and so on. So that's what I like about Knotted Locs, that what it's doing is building on a system, and it's creating more benefits for the person. Because I'm sure with Knotted Sisterlocks, I'm sure, you know, as far as they were concerned, they thought, well, we've got everything covered. You know, it's a brilliant idea, and it is a brilliant idea, but then it comes unstuck somewhere along the line. But people become complacent with their systems. They don't want to admit that there are problems. So they just hold on to the baby. Yeah. So you always need challenges. You always need people to come and challenge the old. And that's how we create change. That's how we create forward movement, because Sisterlocks won't want to acknowledge the deficit in their product, because obviously money's involved. But as somebody who is a client and as somebody who suffers from the downside of it, I want answers, I want solutions. So I'm grateful to you for stepping in and seeing those shortfalls and creating another system based out of the old. And those who want to stick with that, with Sisterlocks can. Those who want to jump ship and do something different, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I like about what I do? What I like about what I do is there's space. There is space for you to learn about your hair. There is space for you to do Sisterlocks and enjoy it and then move. Like, it's non-judgmental. There is space for you to be, yeah, it's just, and it has to be, because I thought, let me create something that has longevity beyond my lifetime. And I'm just because I'm thinking of my kids and their kids. Because the hair loss issue is a lot more than when I was a young girl.
Yeah, it's
so
real.
Something is off key, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this pressure because it's social media now of looking a specific way. So how do I counteract that?
I don't know whether you sorry if I cut you.
No, you haven't.
On TikTok, or Instagram, actually Instagram. But
Right.
if you go on Instagram, the stories that come up, I don't know whether it's because of my particular interest, but it's almost like every 10 videos is about somebody trying to conceal, a Black person concealing their baldness. It's epidemic.
Yeah.
The fact that people are suffering in silence and invisible to us, to everyone else.
Yeah.
It's a personal problem, but it's all our problems. But the amount of people who are, you know, have lost their hair, and it's all the gluing, the pulling, the stretching, the traction, all of this. And, you know, all we want is for our hair to be free.
Yeah. That's my group. Those are the people I'm trying to reach. And I recognize that a lot more are not online because they're so embarrassed that they can just go online, search, and then reach out to me. And privately, I can support them without anybody knowing or seeing. People tend to be a bit worried because they look at me and they think I'm a social media person, and they don't understand actually my work is offline. It's very private because everybody's
when you lose your hair, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they need a safe space. You know what I mean? They need somebody who's not going to judge them and
reveal
say that again.
Happened. It's almost like a confessional. You reveal what's happened to you. You won't show it in public.
You won't show it. Your Black won't care. You won't show it. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing for you. So I have to create that space for you to actually explain what's happened, and then for me to kind of make the women cry. You know, when I speak to women, they cry. It's the first time what they've been thinking has actually, can hear somebody with experience repeat back to them that you were right all those years. And they're like, all those years I was telling my consultant, blah, 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 blah. And so the message I'm getting is take the power back. Like, you have to take the power back. If you give the power completely to Melissa, yeah, you're doing yourself a disjustice. You need to, yes, you sit in my chair and I give you the information, but you're the expert in your hair, right? Now, the
strategies there with healing, take responsibility.
Take responsibility. Yeah.
Your body heals itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Melissa's ego cannot be a priority right now. Why is Melissa's ego a priority? It can't be a priority. Your hair is the priority. Your body is the priority, right? And that's the idea. How do you create a service that is beyond your lifetime, that is about celebrating our hair, accepting your texture? Because the problem is that we are not accepting our texture. Carmen, people are staring at people whose hair you will never have. And you're saying, I love it. You've got gorgeous. My sister, it's their hair. When they switch off the camera, they take their hair with them. You adoring their hair is not going to make a difference. Actually, it's nice for you to admire it, but it's not your hair. Now, you're trying to create that hairstyle thinking that you can, and you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. That's not natural.
Like those American commercials, like now they've categorized hair types, and yeah. I don't know whether I'm a 4 or a whatever or a 1. I can't remember which end of the scale I am.
At the bottom. Yeah, black people's hair is at the bottom.
Black people here.
Black people here is at the bottom. 4.
Yes, at the bottom. Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
White people 2, 1, mixed race 3, 4.
So what happens is whenever they promote a product, they always promote it with somebody's hair on the opposite side of the spectrum. And, so if I'm a 4, it will be a 1 that's promoting the product.
Yeah.
And so you yearn after something that you'll never have, and that the product won't help you because it's helping that hair. It doesn't mean it's going to help your hair.
Yeah.
So first thing is about actually loving what you've got, working with what you've got.
Accepting what you've got, loving what you've got, wanting to enhance
that's
what you've got.
Across the board. It's not just hair. It's just like your whole unique self, everything about you.
Yeah, it is, and it's tough to accept. It's tough. It's not a coincidence that Sisterlocks has been invented, created by somebody who is of a certain complexion and has wavy, mixed heritage looking hair. It's not inspirational.
It's, people aspire, people without that kind of texture aspire to that. They're not silly. These people with their products, they know what.
Yeah, those people know that because they look like that, their products is going to sell because people want their hair. I've seen it so many times when I've gone to events.
But the real challenge is, they're missing a trick here, because the real challenge is take somebody with the I was going to say the worst, but it's not the worst, but with the hair with the most challenges.
Yes.
And see how your product works on that. And that's not what we don't search for that. We're completely mesmerized by these products and that says it's going to do this for our hair, but actually it's doing it for that hair.
Yes.
So we actually have different types of products, more honest products.
Yes, because people
our hair.
People ask me all the time, Carmen, what products I use. And I explain to them that my story is my story, my hair is my hair, and your story is your story. Yeah. What products I use work for me, and they're the easiest. And so you need to do the work to find out what oil type, and forget the brand name, what that conditioner feels like, what that shampoo, and don't be rigid, be open, because you can find 3 or 4 or different ones, because you're trying to live with your hair with ease. I don't want you to be like, this is the only product I should use. Like that you're still doing the Sisterlocks stuff. Like when you do that, you're supposed to be fluid and flow in how you live with your hair. Oh, this looks like a nice
natural as well.
Say that again.
Try to go natural as well with.
Try to go Try to go
Rosemary
natural as well. Try to go natural as well. But
after all.
wherever you're at, if that's where you're at and you have to learn a lesson, just don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like my oil that I use has just got one just the ingredient, and then I put the mix of the scents. But even that, I know it's a feel good thing. I know I'm putting the scents because I just feel like vanilla today or sandalwood today. Does that make sense? But if I make a mistake, it can't be to the detriment of my hair. That's what I've been saying to people. It's like Sisterlocks says, if you miss your 6 weekly retightening, your hair's gonna fall out. Like it's so harsh.
Fear-based. Anything that's fear-based is never for our good.
It is,
Never.
yeah, yeah. So
Of healing.
that's really important. And comment, explain a bit about what you do. Like, because you're based in London, and there are people who might need your services. So explain what you do, Carmen.
I have a website called healyourstory.co.uk.
I'll put that in the comments. Yeah.
And what I do is I'm an intuitive healer, and there's nothing, everything in the universe is based on energy, vibration, frequency. Everything in the universe, your hair, my lips, the board behind me, the air outside, the sun, the moon, the grass, everything. So everything vibrates at its own frequency. And that includes our thoughts. So if you have good thoughts or bad thoughts, it has its own frequency. And the reason why my website is called Heal Your Story is that we're all clinging to stories from the past that don't serve us. So, for example, I might unknowingly be affected by the way my mother used to pull my hair, clamp me between her legs really tightly so I wouldn't squirm. And I felt the tension and it wasn't anger, but the kind of hard life that she was living through her fingers into my hair. Yeah, so I was kind of suffering that. And that's a story that may have been resolved because at some point my mother might have come to me and said, look, darling, I'm so sorry. I know that, doing your hair was always a horrible experience for you, but I was going through this. So she would have resolved the story for me. But oftentimes these stories are not resolved. They stay in our energy field and they cause all sorts of problems because the natural human way of being is to have this universal energy. This is the life force that keeps us alive and that goes when we're dead, that leaves us when we're dead. This life force comes in and it goes out, yeah, in and out like a flow. And when it's flowing, we're healthy, we're whole, we're growing, we're all the lovely things, we're in joy and all the lovely things that we want to be as human beings. But when it's not flowing, it's because it's blocked by these stories. And we have lots of stories from this life, from past life, from our parents' energies. So what happens is these stories have their own frequencies and they block this flow. And without this flow, this is when we develop conditions, when we develop diseases, when we develop all sorts of problems. And that's just one little story that I mentioned, but it could be any kind of story from my uncle molested me when I was 5 years old to my mother listened to the teacher's assessment of me and didn't believe me. So my job is to intuitively find those stories and delete the frequency of them so that energetically you're reconfigured. Sounds really technical, but in actual fact, what it amounts to is you lying down and me feeling around your stories and finding and telling you what I've discovered. And like I say, oftentimes people say, my God, how did you know that? Down to the age. And what happens is because your body is now aligned and whole, it means that this flow comes in. As I said, no healer heals you. All I do is remove the things that are getting in the way of your own healing. So once you're back into this flow, this is what heals your body.
You self-heal.
Yeah, heal. And with the hair, we can have all sorts of stories to do that with the hair. Why am I bald? It could be any kind of story that
Right.
logical mind, I don't know. So I've got to connect to your higher self with my higher self and find out these stories, these blockages. And that's what then assists your body to do what it's supposed to do.
Wow. That's just so interesting. So you are a vessel and
Yeah.
it comes through you, you're aligned and it comes to you. So I'm thinking of when I'm knotting and like,
By the way, we
see,
all are. We all are. It's just that sometimes some people are more sensitive to it, and some people are destined to be in this
I
field. But we
understand.
all have the capacity to do what I do.
Right.
But I've written a book called Shit Happens, Magic Follows, and it explains my story. Because I didn't set out to be a healer. I was actually writing for television for a long time. And something dramatic happened to me one day, and it changed the course of my life. And I then became a healer. And I've been told by many psychics that in many other lifetimes, I was a healer. So I was literally just finding myself again.
That makes so much sense to me. Yeah, if I think of my career and this, if anybody had told me when I was doing what I was doing as a career that I'd be doing this, I'd be like, what are you
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about? Just keep on walking. It just made no sense whatsoever. So it makes sense.
But when you look at it, I'm sure you see, because nothing comes left of field entirely.
It's
Your whole
nothing.
life was leading you to this point in
Yeah,
your life.
everything, because everything
Yeah,
is service.
yeah.
Everything is service. Everything I've done, from being a receptionist to being a recruiter to being a mentor with my students, with my college students, that
It's people and
everything is care. Say that
yeah.
again.
Your thing is people, communications, and care and
All of
service.
it is deep love,
Yeah.
care. I would go over, like, especially when I was working with my students, I am supposed to be doing a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. I would call them after finish work quietly. I would chat to them and try and get them on track so that when we get back to the 9 to 5, I'm like, right. Da, 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 da. I always went out of my way. So actually, I do recognize that every
You're healing
single,
yourself. You're
yeah,
a healing yourself. You're doing it
every,
a different way, but you are healing
yeah,
because, as I said, the hair is so central to not just Black people, everybody, even men have a terrible time of losing their hair. So
yeah.
central to who we are that when we lose our hair, we misalign. So when anything comes in to restore that or to make that better, we come into alignment again, and alignment is healing. So
Come.
you're a healer of another kind, basically. There's a
So,
guy on Instagram. I don't actually it's YouTube. I can't remember the channel, but he looks like an alien. Actually, he's got no facial expressions. But people come in, and the men come in and say, oh, I don't know what to do with my hair. It's been like this. I have problems here. And he says, oh, so you want to look like this? And sometimes they bring photos, and he knows exactly what would suit their face. And he does a haircut on them. And these people transform from being a nerd, from being a dork, from being invisible to being really handsome people, handsome men, and they can't believe it. And to me, that's healing too.
yes,
You know, because
that makes
if they walk
sense.
out, they're 6 foot tall, they're in a different vibration. They
Yeah.
attract differently because they're magnetic. They'll attract differently because their frequency is different.
Yeah, that makes complete sense when I'm doing someone's hair and how they feel when they're leaving, and or like when they come in and they're like a bit curved down and they like feel bad, and then I have to talk to them about the choices they made, which is non-judgmental, but it is trying to remove the blockage. I don't want them to walk around being harsh on themselves or judgmental. And as I'm touching their hair, I'm giving them the information they need for them to basically just celebrate who they are. By the time I finish, they're like, oh my God, wow, um, what, so that's a really important part of my work, the fact that people stand different. And I know I stand different for the fact that my hair looks like this and all of that. Let me tell you, maybe you can help me with this question mark, this confusion I have. So I love what I do and I do what I do, and people leave and then they come and then I teach what I do. And then something happened recently, which was I call labor pains and a rebirthing, right? Recently. And a few of my clients who are never online went online to find out, what is this about? Let me just research, right? And they were very disturbed at,
Here, when you said labor pains, you caught labor pains?
no, labor pains as in betrayal of a friendship,
Okay.
like, right. And what happens with me is when it happened with my business partner. That's what I call the labor pains, or being rooted in my calling, rerouted in my calling. Maybe just another root has to kind of stretch out, right? And it's not just a betrayal, but they want to destroy. It's not just, I'm just going to betray Melissa. I'm going to shut her down, wipe her out. It's aggressive, right?
So sometimes those things happen because we're calling them in.
I believe I did. I believe I am calling them. It makes complete
reset.
Yeah, it 100%, because where I'm at now, there is no way I would have brought myself into this area that I am now. So I understand I called it, but let me tell you my bit that I'm still trying to get my head around. It's happened throughout my career doing this. I want everyone to have the fullest of hairs. However that happens, that's great, but I just want you to have the fullest of hairs. And my whole work, from practicing being a Sisterlocks consultant to me being in the class for the first time, excited, putting my hand up and asking a question or two, and being excited, and then being told the first break, you're being distracting. You're being distracting. You're distracting other people. Keep quiet.
Questioning the system.
I wasn't questioning. I was just asking open questions because I love my clients. That's what, yeah, it's just an open question. Because I came from natural hair work. I came from natural hair and I worked with traditional locks, and I saw the pluses of both. And then here is Sisterlocks and I'm trying to understand it. I was asking open questions that were obviously disturbing them, but I didn't realize I was upsetting them because I'm representing my clients. And I'm asking these questions, excited, expecting Sisterlocks to marry, like, and just give me the answer. But what I was told is, you're being distracting and just be quiet in the class, right? And so I've gone on this journey where it's always been about my hair first and then my client's hair, right? But it's always about, I do not want a melanated person with African texture hair to ever suffer patches or balding. I've never wanted that. I've always wanted our hair to thrive and for us to love what we have. That's the principle of me doing what I was doing before, after Sisterlocks, and now Knotted Locs, right? And what they found disturbing is the language and the aggressive nature and the negative nature. And I've not seen this, but I know it's out there because I don't really research what people think about me. But I have had the experience of people cutting their hair off and going on social media and actually celebrating the fact that they've cut my work off, right? And so for me, you being a healer, I want to ask you about that. How is it that I'm saying, I love you, I care about you, and I want you to thrive? And I want you to thrive because actually there's a simpler way. You sit in the chair and you get your hair done a few times, right? Or you learn to do it and you do it with your hands, no tools, no mirror. You don't rely on anything. It's completely from a place of, I love who I am and I want you to love who you are. How come from that you can get this snowball of, she's not pretty enough, she's got ugly hair, she's horrible, she deserves to be treated like this, like to a point where my clients feel like I need to come offline because I'm so disturbed because it doesn't match. What they're saying doesn't match who I know Melissa is.
So social media is a harsh world and it brings all sorts of people out the woodwork. But a lot of the times people are holding mirrors up to you actually because they're disliking themselves, whether they're disliking the fact that they have little confidence or they don't like their own hair, or they're not in a position in life where they'd like to be. And so there's a lot of projection going on. And sometimes people aren't ready to be healed. That's the other thing. You can't force people into being healed. And sometimes people resent that. And so there's all kinds of, there's never any one answer. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And even on your side, sometimes it's about you and your lessons. You know, do I need to grow a thicker skin? Am I hearing the same voices that I heard in my childhood somehow? And is this telling me that I need healing in that part of my life? Because everybody's a messenger for everybody else. So it's from both sides of the fence. So you can't, everybody has free will, and we can't do anything about the other person. They can only help themselves, and you can only help yourself. So what you have to do for you is to say, okay, what are the lessons here? How does this hurt? How does it land here? What can I do so that I can neutralize this? Because there'll be another person and another event in the same patterning that I experienced in childhood, in young adulthood. Yeah, don't look at the words, don't look at the face, just look at how it lands. Is the pain similar to how I experienced it back then? And that's what you need to heal. And when you heal that's behind you, then these lessons won't come in. And even if you do encounter situations like this, then it won't feel the way it feels now. It will feel more neutral. And that's the point where that this is the journey we're all making, to do with things that we've encountered, stories that we're still holding on to in our life. We have to get to a point of neutrality. And because I've been hurt so many times in my life, and the same person can't hurt me again because I've come to that place. It's not that you condone people's behavior. People behave very badly sometimes, and they don't deserve you turning the other cheek in that way. But you don't deserve to drink their poison. Yeah. So if you refuse to drink their poison and say, look, I'm not condoning what you're doing, but I'm forgiving you for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm letting this go for me.
Yeah,
so I'm no longer drinking your poison.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's all sorts of things there.
That makes sense. Well, the reason why I asked you that question is I
keep a note of the time.
Yes. Yeah, and it's reminding me. But it's fine. We'll finish soon. The reason why I think this is really important is because it's something I've communicated to the people who are on my space. So I feel like it's really important coming from somebody else. But also, I was ignoring part of my calling, Carmen. As a healer, there is a representation of people who look like me, who have my hair texture, who are reading people.
But a lot of people don't like it, but they would never admit to.
They would never admit. And what I thought is when it first happened, I said, okay, a year from now, come back and check in with me, because what I wanted was those people who looked like me. And what I mean by that is like representing the dark skinned girls, right, with their African hair. And basically, you're just raised ugly. You just feel ugly, right? And it's something I've always ignored. But it's hard to ignore when other people, it's not that I'm reading it, other people are giving me the feedback about how you're feeling when people are saying this about you, and how you're feeling about when people are saying that about you. And I think what's really important is in the way I've responded to it, it inspires, encourages, supports somebody else into just following your path and understanding that, I mean, I say this all the time, it is not about their feeling about me. It's them actually experiencing something that they're struggling with. And instead of going internal and exploring it,
something in them, somewhere,
they're publicly fighting themselves.
You will not succeed. If you look like this, you will never feel beautiful. If you look like this, you will never get this kind of man. But you're holding that mirror up to them. So it's like, they I suppose there's a term, self-hating Black person, self-hating Jewish person. It's a similar territory. And we've all got to grow up and grow out of it and grow through that. It's as simple as that. It is individual journey.
Yeah. And what I've decided to do is accept that part of my calling. So I've always ignored it. It came through on COVID, and I just ignored it and said, I don't want to talk about that issue. But there's an explanation as to why I've grown up feeling the way I felt. And then it's still coming back at me. And finally, I'm like, okay, I get it, ancestors, I get it, universe. I'm meant to also, apart from heal, I'm meant to actually represent a group and actually speak about the colorism issue, the hair texture issue, and the fact that I'm looked at as you don't qualify because you're not classic pretty. And it's actually saying, you don't understand. I am qualified because I've been chosen, because people keep asking me for appointments. People keep booking me. So, and then all that's happening is I'm being booked, and then I'm giving you the information. I'm being booked.
We have to grow out of that need to see ourselves through the lens of the white person, the brown person, the fair skinned person, the red skinned person. You know, that's colonial, and that's all our history, and that's what we need to heal from as well.
Yeah, amen, Carmen.
And you know, when we heal from that, then we can move on with all the other things in our life.
Absolutely. And that's how I feel. I feel like this conversation is me moving on from certain blockages I had, certain mothering issues I had, where I would look at somebody and think, thank you, you're helping me, but actually I have it all within me. All of that is what I'm hoping is, that's why I say it's beyond the knots. Somebody looks at this experience and sees, and I'm getting message, like I can see how you've grown from this experience. Carmen, thank you so much. I appreciate you reaching out to me and having this conversation with me, because I know it's going to help other people. And hopefully you could come back again and share some more of your wisdom and your nuggets. I want you to send me the name of your book, and you send me your link. And another question I have for you, the healing work you do, can it be done online?
Yes, I have clients all over the world. I do it remote,
perfect.
In person.
Perfect.
She is like, you know, radio waves. You listen to the radio. Where does that voice come from? It doesn't come from the box.
Right.
Yeah. You listen to somebody on the telephone, that person's in your room, their voice, but they're not here. It's exactly the same principle.
Brilliant. Perfect. So send the link.
On the website, there are many testimonials.
Okay. Perfect. Put the link, comment, and then it will be great for us to have another conversation. As I say, this is the beginning of us having conversations like this on this space, because yes, we do practice knotting our hair. We do practice wearing knotted locks, but knotted locks is just a method. It's just a method of healing.
Much more than that.
It's much more than that. And that's why I'm appreciative of having these moments, these conversations, because I just feel like it would open up, and then there'll be, you know, a couple of people where I'm speaking to at the same time, energy exchange, and it's all towards living abundantly, enjoying the fact that we appear the way we appear, carry our hair in this way, and just share love, basically an example, a version of love, the deepest form of love. So thank you so much. I appreciate this conversation. So I've got so much information that Carmen, next time when you come in, I'll be looking at you different, you know. So thank you so much. And I love the pictures in the background. I mean, it tells a whole load of stories.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Carmen. I'll see you at our next appointment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Take care, my love. Bye, Carmen. Bye, 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 bye. Wonderful, Carmen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing? Guys, I'm telling you this. When hurt happens, when heartbreak happens, it's your rebirth. It is the universe, God, trying to reroute you. Because I would never have felt this comfortable bringing on, my clients are private. My clients do not come on social media. Even when I'm teaching people, they're like, don't put my images on social media. I don't want people to see my face, you know, blah, 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 right? There's so many clients I work with. There's so many clients I work with, so many clients who are so private, online and offline. And one by one, because of the relationship I'm having with them, they are coming out of their comfort zone and they're coming to share what it's like for Melissa to be part of their hair journey through Knotted Locs. Don't get caught up in the technicalities of what I do. Understand that it is a way, a vessel for me to connect with melanated, black-haired, African hair textured people to show you we can live unapologetically, celebrating who we are with our African texture hair in these tubes. And metaphorically, it could represent the way we should live with ourselves, navigating ourselves in the world. Thank you so much for this moment. Until the next time. Bye. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye. I enjoyed it.